Alright, this is the Champions League semi-final, Yevon's Champions League. I'm taking on Midas. The other semi-final was Piggyman versus Tezuka, which hopefully I've already put a video out on. Tezuka ended up winning that one in a closed tiebreak. Now we're going to be taking on Midas. So wish him best of luck in the Discord. And what's the rule set? FF7, 8, 9, choose cards from a maximum of 2 decks. Maximum of 1 semi or rare allowed. Okay. Ooh, Ultimecia. That's a card I always forget exists. I'm logged into the right account. Okay. FF7, FF8, or FF9. Now, I have seen his games in previous rounds because I put them into the database. As I recall, he uses Cypher, Squall, and Zidane. Don't remember the rest of his cards. Probably Kyros. That's always a good fit. Okay, so we don't want cards that just get whomped by those. Is there any natural coverage for Vivi from those decks? There is not. So Vivi is a potentially difficult card to deal with, especially because Kyros doesn't line up too well to take it. Ah, no, there's good coverage. Cypher in 5 sets up Zidane. Okay. I think Freya should play pretty well. It's got a lot of directions it does well against Kyros. The 6 doesn't play well. You'd really rather not the 6 because it's so easy for it to be same walled or plus walled. Does FF7 have anything? I'm trying not to go the Squall Cypher route myself, but like, it's pretty powerful. Cloud is a good card. A7 6/6s are quite strong and have real play against those type of cards. Does his hand have any coverage of Adia? His hand might have Adia in it. All right, so we'll try Squall. And if we're going Squall, let's go no FF8. Now we're going to need some left power. Zidane's a good card. This is not an amazing looking hand. FF7 is fairly weak. This is so crazy. I have an A in every direction. Could have like Sid as the final card. Could have Freya as the final card. Probably Freya is more powerful. The 5s don't, and the 6s don't actually really play off each other because they're not really opposites. Let's try it though. This looks playable, and I don't feel like going the Squall Cypher route. Alright, so we do in fact see the hand that was the 5 cards I mentioned, so I do think this is probably the hand he's used in prior rounds. I do have coverage of Adia. You know, Cloud plays really well against Adia. He does have to find a starter. Cait Sith could have decent value. It can be a little difficult for him to combo off it. Like just looking at a starter like Cypher in 1, right? I have the capture in 4, but it's probably not great. He has an easy recapture in 2, and he might have good moves in 7 at some point. They're probably not. But like, let's say he starts Cypher in 1 with the point that I have a capture in 2, and that if I capture in 4, but he has a recapture in 2, and if I capture in 2, he can combo back with Squall. But that Squall in 3 combo is same walled by Kuja, and then I'm in pretty good shape. Not that like Cypher in 1 is a particularly appealing starter, but it is noting that Cait Sith's 5s are only covered by Squall. So if... Actually, there's some lines where it's covered by Zidane too. Okay, ignore everything I said. I don't particularly know what I'm saying. What's a plausible starter? Zidane in 3 is pretty well supported. That seems kind of generic, but by no means like wrong. Kuja's 6 to the left is nice against Zidane in 3 because if I ever do capture it, they do not have the immediate combo back. Against Zidane in 3, I think there's a good chance I'd go in 7. But I'm not sure what, because I have really bad play against Kyros' 7 to the right. So if Kyros ever takes an 8, I never really have play against that. Cait Sith's 8 going up is often dominated by Squall, depending on what side of the board it's on, I guess. Maybe Zidane in 3, Cait Sith in 7. Maybe that's like a little bit tricky for him. Because if I get Kyros out of his hand at some point, he doesn't have a... it's harder for him to recapture in 2. He might still have it. Because Adia is a backup plan there. But normally, like, if Adia ever recaptures something in 3 from 2, I can play something like Zidane in 1. But I'd probably use Zidane to capture in 6 if that happens. I don't know if what I'm saying is making any sense right now. I'm sort of just floating ideas to myself to get acclimated with the position, which is, I think, decent practice on second turn. Is just like, what's a plausible move? Doesn't have to look smart or anything, but just start seeing how the cards work together. You know, there's also like Squall or Cypher in 5 is a pretty common type of idea with these hands. Zidane in 3 is obviously not going to be a very useful starter for me to play. If Squall is out of his hand, then Cait Sith in 9 maybe has some play. I don't have particularly great corners, which makes me think that a center starter could be pretty viable for him. Because if I can't really play off it, obviously that can be very nice for him. Probably Cypher would be the one he'd want to do. Given that like Cloud gives me a nice plus wall against Squall that isn't shared. So I think I have a little more play if Squall goes in 5, and also Squall covers my Cait Sith pretty well. So if he was going to drop in 5, I would guess Cypher goes there. I don't know. My double numbers give me pretty good coverage of 10s. You know, if he goes in 5 and I play something like 6, 8, 8, 7, and 2, that could just be kind of annoying for him. And A7, 6, 6s, I think, are surprisingly good kind of defensive cards. Meaning second turn cards. There's just a lot of spots where, you know, say they go 5, I go 2, at some point they take from 1. But they have to take from 1 with, like, they can't take with Cypher because I combo it with Kuja. So if they take from 1, they have to take with Adia, and I can still take back with Kuja, and they don't have combo play against my 7. They do have a capture with Squall, but that starts to use up all the directional power they kind of need for the rest of the game, or some of it. Okay. Zidane in 3, or Zidane. I always used to say Zidane as a kid, so I kind of still revert to it. Okay. Kuja in 1 is possible. It is difficult for him to play in 2, and I have good play in 2 that is not shared with Cloud. So there's an argument for that. What else is there an argument for? Can't play Cait Sith in 9 because Squall takes it and is safe to Zidane, though I don't have the combo in 2, so that wouldn't be a threat anyway. So I do have the nice capture in 6, and I don't have the nice capture in 2. And that leans me towards, if I was going to go in like 1 or 9, I would go in 1, most likely. Cait Sith in 1 makes some sense. Cait Sith in 1. I don't have particularly good elves, though. Right? Like, if they play in 2 with an A facing down, and I either play in 4 or 6, neither way do I really set up a threat in 5. And if I play in 6 with Zidane, their Kyros is really good, and it could be really hard for me to play next to Zidane without getting comboed at the end by Kyros. And I don't have a great follow-up in 4. So I liked my instinct of 7 from earlier. Cait Sith in 7. An idea. I think the most worrying thing there is probably that they go in 6 for a couple reasons. 1, I've just given up my potential safety in 9. And 2, if I'm forced to capture in 2 with Kuja, they might be able to just take back with Cypher in 1, and Cypher would be safe. So maybe that's too big a concession. I just don't really know what cards I want in my hand. That's not great. Kuja in 1 seems alright. Cloud in 5 I do not like at all. I think that makes Kyros way too much of a beast. I don't think I can put Zidane in 7. I think it's too useful to have a threat in 6. I don't think I can put Cloud there. I just don't have recaptures. Freya in 7. I don't like giving them Kyros 4. But they do potentially have some down issues. Could see them having problems going down. So maybe I should be looking at Cait Sith in 1 again. Because if they use Cypher in 2, they are out of down. Does that matter? Does that matter? So Cait Sith in 1, Cypher in 2. If I go Zidane in 6, it does make Cait Sith really good. But, sorry, it does make Kyros really good. But it's hard for them to make a next move. Either of their cards with a 6 facing down, Kyros or Squall, are hard to put in 4, because Cloud has the combo there. Adia is hard to put in 4, because Cloud has a combo in 5 that I might be able to do. And that combos a lot of extra cards. I kind of like the look of Cait Sith in 1. It's hard for them to play 6 because Zidane's suddenly really good in both 2 and 6. All right, let's go for it. Let's go for it. This is a semifinals matchup. Midas, Wazzup. What's the rule set? 7, 8, 9, 2 decks max, max 1, semi-rare. And move order so far is 5, 5, 8, 9, 3, and 8, 5, 5, A, 1. Okay. So we're setting up Zidane both ways. This is slightly inspired by a game Nimloth beat Midas. So we're trying to do what Nimloth did. I tend to look to block the in-between square. I think Midas tends to look more often to play far away. So I think there's a fair chance we're going to see an active move in 7, 8, or 9. Now, if so, Squall in 9. Squall in 9 could be annoying, because Kyros has a lot of squares there. Kyros has a lot of squares after Squall in 9. But maybe we can just force the action against them. If Squall 9, like say we go Freya 8. If they go Kira 6, then we hit them with Zidane 2. They have a Dia 5 at the end. But then we play Kuja 4 and Cypher, and 7 is dead at the end. That's probably a tie. Not actually counting very well. So let's count that out. Squall 9. I may have been saying 7. I meant Squall 9. Squall 9, Freya 8. I'm up 6-4. Kyros 6. He's up 6-4. I go Zidane 2. That flips 2 things. I'm up 6-4. They go Adia 5. They flip for 3 things. They're up 7-3. I play Kuja 4. 5-5. They don't have a capture tie. So after Squall 9, that could be a possible direction. Of course, if I go in 8, they don't really have... There's not much obligation for them to go in 6 immediately, because it's kind of hard for me to block 6. If I do it with Zidane, I'm walking into some combo action. And if I do it with a card other than Zidane, that's probably a card I want to hold on to. Yeah, Kyros is going to be really good here. I didn't really check for whether Kyros could be set up well, but I think Squall in 9 looks dangerous. Another thing I could do is play something like Freya in 6 against Squall 9. Don't take anything, but they can't go 5 because I get 2. It's hard for them to go 8 because I probably still get 2 in nice shape. It's hard for them to have multiple captures there. And if they block 2, I still have a threaten 8. Cypher 2 there's tricky. So Squall 9, Freya 6, Cypher 2. The question is, do I have a tie there? If I start with Cloud in 8, that makes it 5-5 because I have the cards in 6, 8, and 9. And the question is, does that tie? And I think I will figure that out during my next turn if he plays this rather than try to calculate it now. With those 4 squares left, with the kind of elongated L of cards in 1, 2, 3, 6, and 9, I think it is hard to calculate everything at a distance, especially when talking. But in general, I just think that is difficult. Like, takes a while to do, and it's harder to see when far away. It's one of the slower form of calculations for me because there's not... Every square can be relevant. So I currently think Squall 9 is the main line. But okay, say I went Cloud 8 at the end there from that L. Say they go... I'm now forgetting what card they have left. They have Kyros and Adia left. So say they go Adia 7. I have a same in 4. Then that should be good enough, yeah. So I don't think they can go 7. If they go 5, what would they put in 5? Probably Adia. That puts them up 6-4. Ooh, that's bad, because I don't have Kuja 4 there, because with Cloud and 8, Kyros has a plus at the end. Huh. Maybe that all doesn't work then. Maybe I can't go Freya 6. I can also go in 4. Like, I think all of 2, 4, 6, and 8 are very plausible. 5 seems really unlikely. I don't want to leave all the combo squares open. But 4 would have the point, it's hard for him to go in 2 when I have combo play against 1, and that might give me time to go in 2. And I could go in 2 with Zidane, but if I'm afraid of getting comboed back, maybe I can go in 2 with Kuja at some point. So maybe something like Freya 4 is how I want to meet Squall in 9. I'm not sure. I do think Squall in 9 is the main move here. Obviously, there's options in 2, like Cypher in 2. There's probably some big combo setup in 5, you know, Squall in 5 or whatever. But yeah, all right, Squall in 9. There we go. good move, I think. And I was sort of leaning towards Freya in 4. But maybe it's bad. Maybe Freya in 4 is just bad. Like, if they play Kyros in 2 there, and I'm like, haha, I got you, I play Zidane in 6, Cypher in 5 just wrecks me, right? Yeah, I lose 6-4 there, I think. So, okay. That's probably not the way. Freya in 8. My problem was I don't have a great threat to block 6 after. Kuja in 2. Kuja in 2 has some merit. I go up 6-4. That's the main merit. I worry that Cypher 4 after is really tough for me. Yeah. Yeah. Zidane in 2? They go 6. They can also hold off 6 and try to create a threat elsewhere, but I don't really see where that threat would be. So Zidane in 2, Kira 6. There's also a Dia 6. But Zidane in 2, Kira 6. He flips everything. I go say... I'm not taking much back, yeah. Freya 6 was possible. I'm not finding a consistent logic to things, and that's troublesome. How can I make Kiro suck instead of just sweeping me? Because if I can make Kiro suck, then I can leave it as the last card. What if I went Freya in 5? Is this loony? God, I'm not seeing anything today. Okay, like Kuja 5. Does it do anything? Why am I looking at this? I don't know. I gotta actually consider a move. Freya 8? It's better than Cloud 8 because it doesn't walk into a combo with for Kyros at the end if I play a Kuja 4 and they have 7. Freya 8. I think it's hard for them to go 7. Not entirely sure. Kind of like the look of Freya 8. I think Kiro 6, Zidane 2 is a tie. That's my main rationale. Alright, not calculating anything too well. Let's play it. It was an idea I had a while ago. Sometimes my ideas aren't terrible. This could be bad though. This could just be a loss. I'm not sure at all. My instincts tell me this is probably just enough to get a tie here. But that is not the most encouraging thing. So if they go Kuros in 6, the kind of obvious move to do, he's up 6-4. I play Zidane in 2. I'm going to flip 2 cards, just 2. I will be up 6-4. At this point, they can play Cipher 5. That flips 2 things, puts them up 6-4. But I can play either of my cards left in 4. That double captures, I go up 6-4 and we tie. Alternatively, they can play a Dia in 5. They flip 3 things, right? Because they flip 2, 6, and 1. But I can play Kuja in 4, and I tie. If they don't go in 5, can they set up so that they crush both of my cards? All they need to do is be able to combo a 6, but I don't think they can set up to do so. So I think Kuros in 6, I have a tie. And that was my main reasoning here. If they play in 2, I figure I can go in 6. And if they leave both those squares open, it gets a little trickier. But I think importantly, hopefully, I have ways to play around Zidane where I don't flip it at some inopportune moment where Zidane just destroys me. Zidane. So that's the dream. Do not love how I handled this at all, but hopefully we can maneuver to a tie. Didn't love the far corner plays either. I just didn't find a clear strategy. I think some of it might be bad play, but also I probably put together a pretty poor hand. The 2 cards with 5s don't play off each other very well because they're sort of both on the same side of the board. Same with the 2 cards with 6s. There's not, the 6, 8, 7, 8 has nothing in my own hand it plays off, right? Except sideways 10s, but like Zidane's probably not going in 9 or 8, which are the squares it would have a plus wall against its 9. So I think I did a poor job in card select, leading to a tough position, which we may well lose. In the meantime, received a message. Should also be ready to be able to post this game when it finishes. From Tezuka. What else is going on here? Sometimes just like 5 is just crushing in these positions and I never check it, or so rarely check it. But also, it's hard for 5 to be all that scary here, I think. Maybe a DF5 is kind of funny. Because I am unable to go in 6 without flipping something. Just thinking of strange possibilities. I don't think a DF5 can ever be any good because I have Kuja in 4, either immediately or soon after. And while moves in 4 are the least likely common moves in those structures, when they're safe, they are very much worth checking. And often come with a devastating effect. Alright, seems like I am getting my answers to my 8th interview, which is cool. And I think I've planned out who numbers 9 and 10 will be. that's cool. If you haven't watched my interviews, and possibly they've come out by the time this has come out, but the first one was with Vialva. Then I think the second one I published was with... Well, I'll say the order I did them. This is not the order I published them. Second was Turds, third was Akiyama, fourth was Nimloth. I think I ordered those Nimloth Akiyama Turds rather than Turds Akiyama Nimloth, but whatever. Fifth was Piggyman. Sixth was Stuff. Seventh, which as I am recording this has not yet been released, is Scythe. Eighth is Tezuka. Shoot, did I just... Yeah, well, that's what he messaged me about. And I'm not spoiling anything. And 9th and 10th, we will be figuring out. This is a bad position, though. This is very much a position where Midas is trying to find a win, right? And he may well have one. Like, even something like Cypher 7. You know, Cypher's a card that's not all that useful to him. Kyros plays so well after. Kyros 6. Alright, so I thought we had the tie here. But let's check. Zidane 2. I flipped two things. It's currently 4 versus 6. So he would be up, I would be up 6-4. If Cypher goes in 5, it flips two things. He's up 6-4. I play Kuja in 4. I'm up 6-4. We tie. If they play Adia in 5, they go up 7-3. I play Kuja in 4 again. Cypher takes nothing. We tie. Okay. What if they go in 4? So I've gone in 2. I'm up 6-4. They go in 4. Either card they put in 4, it is 5-5. And they will presumably have the recaptures. That looks just like a tie, because I'm going to have the cards in 2, 3, 5, and 6. If they go in 7, they make it 5-5. Ooh. This might not work for me. Yeah, they should go 7. Alright, I missed this. I go 2, right? I'm up 6-4. They go in 7 with a Dia. No, if they go in 7 with a Dia... Yeah, they go in 7 with a Dia. It's 6-4 me. But either card... No, it's 5-5. I can go in 5 and I take 8. But they have a double capture at the end. No, I'm counting wrong. Well, okay. So I go up 6-4. They go in 7 with a Dia. It's still 6-4. 8 never flipped. What am I talking about? I'm completely brain dead. I go 5 with either card. I'm up 7-3 because I take Freya. They double capture. We tie. Okay. We're very suspicious thinking right now. All right, so Zidane 2, Adia 7, I block 5. It's 7-3. They double capture. We tie. If Zidane goes, if Cypher goes 7, it's 5-5. I still block 5 and tie. Okay. So that should tie. Is there anything we can do that is beautiful and fancy? Probably not. Kind of have to be like 4, I think. So like Zidane in 4. Does that do anything? No. Just doesn't. All right. Yeah. Zidane in 4 has the cute point that both my cards on board are safe, right? So it's kind of cute. You know, they have no left. We can take advantage. So Zidane 4, if they go Adia in 7, I can play let's say Kuja in 2 and we tie. If they go Cipher in 7, I can go Kuja in 5 and we tie. If they go something in 5, I have many paths to a tie. And if they go in 2, yeah, I'm good. So I think actually Zidane in 4 is the cute way to do this, and Zidane in 2 is the not cute way to do this. It is cute, right? That's a funny pair of cards to have just be totally safe to their hand, and they can't even set up against it. So I think we'll be going Zidane in 4. I'm just trying to double check while talking, because it just looks fun to play. All right, let's go for it. All right, tough game, tough game. We had to be He mentioned Adia in 4 as well. Also, some names coming back. Reeker returned today. So, it's always nice. Like, because we had such a big crowd coming in at the start, and obviously people trickled back away. And then when Balls sent an email to every email still kind of connected, that brought in a new, flock. And since then we get the occasional trickle, but, there's not really a way for someone to know that the community is not, entirely, but that the community is to a very real extent back. And yeah. All right. Should make sure I haven't actually lost this one, but Kuja in 2, 13, 9, 19, 16. Yeah, we're good. Cloud left over. So I'm going to be checking this game with the solver before we go on to the next one, because both Midas and I are curious if he was winning, and don't love how I played this one. So take a quick peek. I have to put in the cards. That'll take a moment. His hand, or my hand, was 855A, 6878, 55A9, 6A76, A766. His hand was 55A9, 8469, 676A, AA33, 6984. Computer's not plugged in. The computer I have the solver on is not my main computer, and the battery on it is completely in terrible shape, so it is a laptop that is mostly unusable as a laptop, and pretty much exists to run the solver and record these videos. It's like 10 years old. It's not in the best shape. So, well, we'll see what it says. I hope I wasn't lost. I hope I played just about well enough to not deserve to lose. I did not play any better than that, but so you went here. I should switch you over. Right, there you are. And I went here, which was not losing, but was not high pressure. Yeah, so 3/4 of his moves tie here, so he's definitely the one looking to apply pressure. Apparently I had tons of ties against his starter. I was not at much risk, so I should have found a better way to apply pressure. He played Squall in 9, which I thought was really good. I had 13 losses and 11 ties. I considered a bunch of moves here. I considered Freya in 6, which lost. 2/2, which I think was what I had concluded. I considered Freya in 4, which tied. Interesting. I considered forcing the action immediately, but I forget why I thought this was good. That doesn't look good now. And I considered Freya in 8, which I played, and which was a tie. Okay. So I can tie with so either 2 or 4 with Zidane tie for me. Also Kuja in 2 ties, which I didn't really check. And he also had the idea of Adia in 4, which lost to Zidane 6 for some reason. Alright. So let's move back to the other game. I should put up, it's my rule set. My rule set is, what's up? I know it's random. Level 5. Great. Open, private. Same, plus wall, random, combo, level 5. All decks. And I asked him whether he wanted 5 or 7 minutes. Alright, 7 since he's tired. I'm tired too, so we're all, yeah. Let's do 7. Oh, and I should send the game. God, I'm scattered. Maybe he posted it. Sweet, yeah, he did. Alright. And let's see what our random looks like. Alright, we got first turn. That's cool. Hopefully we can find a way to press. Directionally, I have 7s in each direction. And he has 7s in all direction, but a clear weakness to the right. Very strong going left, 7, 7, 6, 6. Strong going up, 7, 6, 6, 6. A lot of 6s. Can I punish that? 3, 5, 7, 6. So if I go at the bottom row, it is possible he'll have trouble playing cards above my cards because they can be comboed from above. Going down, 7, 7, 6, 5. But going to the right, 7, 4, 2, 2, 2. So that's our goal. Our goal is to make that really annoying. Do I have a good way to do it? Four, 7, 2, 7, and 9. That looks interesting, right? Because any capture they have, I can combo back. And they only have combo captures in 6. Can they set up a capture in 8? Yes. Yes, they can. Specifically with 6276 or 7274. They can play that in 7, and they set up to have a threat in 8. That makes it a bunch less appealing. But that's hard for them to take back, actually. Because if they play 7274, and I play like 6745 and 5, I haven't given up any of my combo back cards. And they still have a really hard time playing in 6. They can't take back 7274 and 7. So they probably wouldn't do it that way. They'd probably have to do it by playing 6276. And then I guess take back 7274. But then they've had to use both their down cards. I think it's really hard for them to play in 7 if I start in 9. So 47279 I think is tricky. I threaten to just lock in 6. Do they have a big play in 5? 6267 needs a 3 down. They don't have it. 6457 needs a 5 down. They don't have it. 6276 needs a 3. They don't have it. 7274 needs a 2. 4736 needs a 4. So they have no setups in 5 against 4727 and 9. So all I'm doing right now is just saying, where's their directional issue, and can I make a card that is annoying for them to fight against? And 4727 and 9 looks really annoying. 6276 and 7 looks like the most natural reply. But if I play something like 6745 and 8, their 7274 is really overworked. Yeah, I think this puts good pressure. I think he has a poor hand, and I have a decent chance to apply early pressure. So I got very lucky with the randoms here, both having first turn and having what I think is a good random, but we'll see if I can utilize it. Because you never know. And Midas is obviously a good player. Great player, even. It did use up a bunch of power in my hand. I have potentially used up a big, top row sweeper. But it's kind of hard for them to go opposite corner because they have no power to the right. So, the only thing it's just, and it's really hard for them to go 3, right? And 3 is the square with a 7 facing out that I'd be like, I'm missing 4727. But I don't think he can go 3. I just go 6 and suddenly the game is facing the worst direction. I think this is a really tough spot. I think his hand's terrible. I also only just realized he could play 4736 and 5. That the 6267 and 6276 need a 3 down, which he does in fact have, and I announced repeatedly that he didn't. So, if he does that, he still has no combo play against 3576 and 3. So I still have really good coverage of anything he would put in 6. So if he does go 4736 and 5, it is very easy for me to make a move like 5745 or 6745 and 8. So despite completely missing a setup in 5, it's not scary, because if he doesn't have a legitimate threat to go in one of the squares around my starter, I can just block the other square. And I've been playing a lot of those moves anyway, but I think here's a very obvious rationale for why. If he goes 4736 and 6, that sets him up in 8, but actually he has no real threat in 6. Therefore, I can just block 8, right? I can block the square he's actually set up in and leave him with the square he isn't. So hopefully I have a chance to press here. If we win, we're through to the finals against Tezuka. If we don't win, we're in a tie-break game. I think semifinals is a pretty good run for me. I wouldn't feel too bad on this one if I went out here. Obviously, I would like to go on to win. This is a March event, and I did not make my power rankings in February and would like to roar back onto the list. So, would like a nice finish here, but this is a tricky tournament with like lots of different rule sets to play, and yeah, I think I made the kind of burden of it easier on myself by just putting one of my sets as random, because then I don't have to prepare as many hands. And in previous rounds, I did actually prepare some hands for opponents, as I think you've seen, and I really should have in this one. I kind of figured I'd be able to find something good in card select against Squall Cypher, so I didn't worry about it too much. But the thing about A964s is they're just the most beautiful cards in existence, right? I've talked about this before, but like A964s can, of course, same wall or plus wall enemy 9s. They can plus wall 8s, they can plus wall 7s, they can same wall or plus wall 6s. They can plus wall 5s, they can same wall 4s, and every number on them captures anything 3 or less. So the only thing they're not like they have this varied ability to fight against all numbers, right? There's like, if you build your hand around 7s, it's not like you're safe to A964s. If you build it around 8s, it's not like you're safe. And there's hands that are like A88s, right? And an A88 hand, whenever it sees 9s, just gets really unhappy because it has no tools to fight them. And so if you load up on many of those cards, even like 2, your hand is often going to be weak to 9s. Just like a very kind of simple, straightforward weakness. And A964s just don't have a weakness like that. There is not something like that. Or like 8876s are incredibly good cards in many ways. But on second turn, if you have a bunch of 8876s and you're left with one on the last few turns, often it just gets overpowered at the end. A964s make no concessions on a power front. They don't have numbers, they just can't hit at all, except you might argue by not having a double number, they're weak against 10s. But this is where Squall and Cypher come in, because as soon as you pair them, they have the ability to start taking A's. And so it's this really powerful card type, especially in multiples. And some cards like A88s, the more you commit to them, the more their weakness grows. While the more you commit to A964s, the less of a weakness they have. I think 8764s are a similar type of card on level 7. 8765s on level 8 are not the same type of card because they do make a power concession. I think they're very good cards, but you wouldn't want to mask them in the same way. And in my, I think, quarterfinals versus DJ, I did very well with like an all A964 hand, basically, because they're so effective in mass. And they also play really well with Kyros with the A676s. So I sort of thought, like, I'll just figure out some cards that line up well against the hand I assume he'll use. But there's not really a counter hand to be had, or if there is, it's not something I'm all that aware of. I'm not a particularly good counter hand builder. I think there are people who are much more thoughtful on that front than I am. But I sort of assumed I'd be able to do something, and I think that was just kind of a fool's errand, and I should have prepared it. I also thought with so few cards available, didn't have to spend that much time. And I think that was just a mistake. I think I ended up in a difficult position that maybe I would have landed in anyway, but I gave myself much higher odds to blow it. And I think that was a pretty big mistake that I got lucky on. All right. 2 is interesting because it directly fights against me going in 6, right? Because my threat is to go in 6, so it makes sure if I do go in 6, he gets to go in 3. All right. That said, I don't know how displeased I can be about that. It is still just really hard for him to go to the right. Just really difficult. And so if I play something in 6 with a 5 to the left, If they take 1, I can go 3, 5, 7, 6, and 5. I get the plus. My card in 5 is actually safe to 8. He still is dead in 8. He has a capture in 1 or a capture in 4. But this just looks dead to me. I think this was a terrible hand. I'm not saying this was a bad move. I have no problems with how Midas has played this match. I think he's basically like he started with a good strong corner, followed it up with a great third corner in the last game, didn't have a win, found the most comfortable tie, which put some pressure on me. This game just has a horrible hand. And maybe he still will find a way to save it, but does kind of look like I can go in 6. One tricky line if I go in 6. So say I play like 5, 7, 4, 5, and 6. They stick some card in 3. Doesn't matter what for now. I go 3, 5, 7, 6, and 5. I will be up 6, 4. Can they go 4, 7, 3, 6 in 4? I think the answer is no. The answer is definitely no. But I was thinking, I can't actually take back 3, 5, 7, 6 from 8. So if they could flip that from 4, I go 1, they go 7. If that card in safe is 7, they have the tie. But that card in safe is never in 7 is never safe. So I think I just go 6 here. The other thing about 6 is they don't have the double capture in 5, so I threaten to go in 1, right? It's not just like, you know, if they go 1, I have 5. It's also, if they don't go 1, I get 1, and that 6, 2, 7, 6 is just like almost safe to their hand. Yeah, he had really, really terrible hand for Midas on this one. My chat computer has fallen asleep. That's a shame, but okay, no messages. But I think I just want to go in 6. That was the idea with the starter, and I don't think this dissuades me. The question is there any difference between 5, 7, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 4, 5 there? And I think there is not, but I will play 5, 7, 4, 5 because on the off chance there is, I don't think the 5 is ever hitting anything that the 6 doesn't, and the 6 has a chance to hit something the 5 doesn't. So I think I'm just going to play 5, 7, 4, 5, and 6. I did not seriously consider anything else, but I think another point of his starter is if I go 3, potentially he can go 6. Even though it doesn't take me, it gives him a card that is safe to 5, and if I have to go 8 to take something back, he suddenly has stuff to attack on the board. And so I think that sort of gives him an out. Also, if I start in 3, or in 1, I may have said 1 when I meant 3. So I was saying if I go 3, I think he goes 6 and is probably okay. If I go 1, he goes 3 and is probably okay. If I go 5, the game takes on an up-down nature. So I think there are a lot, and his hand is actually quite good up-down. So I think there are lots of moves that just might be fine, but don't really fit the logic of the position, and I'm not gonna... I don't have the time or kind of thinking capacity to have a great feel for them, and this just feels really logical. 3, 5, 7, 6 now acts in the paired squares of 3 and 5. I'm really sorry about this video, by the way. I think I keep saying the wrong squares. But that works in the squares of 3 and 5. And 7, 3, 6, 4 serves to make sure I have the kind of left flank covered. And 6, 7, 4, 5 is going to sweep the bottom. Four, 7, 3, 6, and 5 is vaguely interesting because it sets up the combo in 8 while capturing something. And if I replied in 8, then he could go in 3. On the other hand, it does set up 7, 3, 6, 4 for 8 myself. And I don't think his threat is actually so big, because if I just block 3 after he goes 5, if he does take the plus in 8, it's going to have a 7 to the left, and 6, 7, 4, 5 is going to combo back. and that's going to hit really hard. So, yeah, I think this was just an unplayable hand. I don't... Like, this is one of those hands where, like, sometimes the solver says no ties on hands like this. Sometimes it says, like, kind of between 1 and 6. But they're all, like, you know, weird moves in 2. And he tried a weird move in 2, and I don't think this worked. I'm going to guess that against this starter with a hand this bad, I'm going to say... And sometimes you, like, think it's terrible for them, and the solver's like, there were 23 ties out of 40 moves. This was, you know, slightly more pressure than normal, but it was fine. I don't think that was the case here. I think it's going to give him between 1 and 6 ties against the starter, and that's just such a horrible place to be, right? Where you have to find something incredibly precise early. When it's not deep enough into the game, you're going to be able to calculate out those critical lines the computer is justifying it based on, because most of those lines will survive with a terrible hand like this based on something also very difficult to see on the next turn. It's this move that looks bad this turn and is very hard to find is justified by this other move that's very hard to find a move later. And so if you don't happen to see that sequence, and it's really hard to because you have so many moves or possibilities to check, and there's not much reason to think this move is more likely to lead to that lucky sequence than another, I think it's just really tough. I think there are hands where it's like, there's one tie, but that one tie is like the perfect center setup in 5. And like, you're going to find it because that center setup is so appealing. And then there are spots like this where if I'm correct in the tie guess, which I'll check after because I enjoy making guesses and testing if they're correct. I think just in practice, this is a hand that's just like, I drew the free win. And that kind of sucks for him, but I will take it. Of course, I was sort of talking like this in the, when was it? I think it was in the SPID reunion. Was that semifinals? It was the quarter or semifinals. I want to say semifinals. I think I made it to the semis in that one. Versus Piggy Man. And I was saying the same thing in our open random there. Just like, you know, this is just hopeless. And then he made a move and it was like, oh, it's a tie. I was wrong about everything. So that happens, you know. But if Midas does this, much like with Piggy, I will commend him for having played great rather than, you know, beat on myself for being overconfident. Probably should have broken this up into 2 videos. How long have we been going? An hour? Well, hopefully I win it here and we don't go to tie breaks. Not the most skillful win ever, but I do think so much of randoms is when you have that critical hand advantage, converting it. Right? And when you have a bad hand who can save them more often, when you have a good hand who can take advantage more, and when you have a kind of neutral hand, can you get much pressure? And if you can get a little pressure out of the neutral hands, like whether you happen to win the game or not, I'm not too bothered about. But I think like on neutral hands, it's nice if you can find a way to make it a little tricky for them, give them a chance to lose. And on good hands, can you press and convert the ones which you should? And on bad hands, can you hold? Or give yourself chances to hold? And in recent play, I've not done a great job on the latter. I blew a game to Akiyama. Well, I didn't blow it. I was lost from the start. But I also did not put up serious resistance, right? It was something where I gave him no serious chances to not win. And so I lost, and I would have lost to anyone playing correctly, but I could have made it a lot harder to play correctly. And so that was a game like, it's fine that I lost, but I lost badly, and I didn't need to lose badly. And that doesn't mean score, that means like, I lost where I gave lots of clear paths for him to win, and paths I saw before making my move, right? And just hoped he wouldn't see I saw one path. But it turns out there were a bunch of others, and he played the path I saw. which means it's going to be pretty clear to someone at this level. So anyways, you try to make it tricky when you can, I guess is what I'm saying. Nothing too deep here. We're filling time as we wait for a move. And again, having sympathy because his hand here, not good. Make sure all the rules are on. Good to just regularly check because you do start calculating and occasionally you realize that was all wrong. Yeah, tough spot. Yeah. So it's the kind of move you see in the gotta complicate at some point. I had a thought about this, which was I didn't think something like this could be too dangerous because if I block 8, I still have the pair of cards for 3 and 5. And I have a pretty good way to block 8. Couple options, actually. Probably want to do it with the 6 facing up, because he actually has no play against that, and he does have play against the 7. So yeah, I think we can just play. The one worry is, you can hilariously walk into something bad here. So if 6, 7, 4, 5, and 8, if he could go in 4, because I have no card I can put in 5, that if he combos with 4, 7, 3, 6, and 3, my card will have to either be weak to 6 or it will flip 5 and be weak to 5, my 2 remaining cards. If I start with 6, 7, 4, 5, and 8. Because 7, 3, 6, 4, and 5 is weak to 5, 7, 4, 5, and 3, 5, 7, 6 flips 2, which is weak to that combo. So if he can go in 4 such that he threatens 5, that can be tricky. So can he? 6, 7, 4, 5, and 8. Again, if he can't go in 4, I am currently going to be up 6, 4. I will go in... So if he goes in like 1, I will go in 3. I will be up 7, 3. He just won't have the captures. It's just, the game's over there. If he goes in 3, it's 5, 5. I block 5, and his only captures are with 4, 7, 3, 6, and I'll have 7, 3, 6, 4 left as a sweeper. So he can't go in 3. So the question is, can he go in 4? And the answer, I think, he must threaten 8, right? He must threaten something to do with 8. Which means 6, 4, 5, 7 can never be set up to do anything against 8. It would need a 4 to the right. 4, 7, 3, 6 would need a 3 to the right from 4. Doesn't have it. 6, 2, 6, 7 is the only card he can set up to have a serious threat in 5. But the problem is, then he has to use 4, 7, 3, 6. And if he uses 4, 7, 3, 6, he's still down 6, 4. I block 5. And at this point, he has no combos. So I block 5, and I just need to be able to take a card on my last turn. So I block 5 with, I guess, 7, 3, 6, 4. I go up 7, 3. Yeah, that's enough. So he doesn't have anything in 4. He can't have anything in 5. He can't have anything in 3. Because I reply with 3, 5, 7, 6, and 5. So I think 6, 7, 4, 5, and 8 should cleanly end the game. Now, if we check, did he have anything in 5? 6 plus 7 is 13, 2 plus 5 is 7, 6 plus 6, 12. None of those are the same. 6 plus 7 is 13, 4 plus 5 is 9, 5 plus 6 is 11. None of those are the same. 4 plus 7 is 11, 5 plus 7 is 12, 3 plus 6 is 9. None of those are the same. No threat in 5. And if he goes 3, I go 5. And I think he's behind too much that it doesn't matter. but he is behind, which means he needs a capture. The only captures will be with 4-7-3-6, and 7-3-6-4 sweeps that. So I think not only do I win there, but I win 7-3 against 3. If he goes 5, similarly, I pair 5 with 3, so it's easy to calculate. Any move in 3 is met by 5, any move in 5 is met by 3, and the right weakness just ends the game. His hand was too weak. If he goes 1, I go 3, and I lead 7-3, and there are no spots where he can possibly have a double capture after that, so that can't work. And finally, if he goes 4, this is the trickiest because he potentially has that plus in 3 lurking, but I think I can just play in 3 myself, or 1, probably just 1 actually. I can play in 1 and 3-5-7-6 has both remaining squares 3 and 5. If he can play in 4, however, setting up a threat in 5, then I can't do that, which is why 4-7-3-6 and 5 is it may not be the best move, but it is the critical move to have checked, because it is the only one that can seriously throw a wrench in the works. I, however, can meet that. I will meet that with 7-3-6-4 and 5. I will go up 7-3, and 3-5-7-6 has captures everywhere. And they've given up their combo in 3. Which I don't think would save them there, but is the only thing that might. So, really horrendous hand for Midas. I don't think in practical terms there was anything that could be done. Yeah, but this did not feel like a serious chance. So we're gonna play in 5. We have our plus that we set up, and that's gonna put us up 7-3. Just making sure he has no plus in 4. He does not. That's it. And we'll post the game. What was the move order? 9, 2, 6, 7, 8, 3, 5, and 2 more moves to go. 4, 1. All right. So, congrats to me, I suppose. We will be seeing Tezuka in the finals. Tezuka has made a lot of finals of tournaments. And yeah, it should be a fun match. We're currently at, I think it's still just 4 players. Is it 4? I should check. I think it's just 4 players have beaten me in Open since the return, and Tezuka is one of them. So I think that's it. I'm probably missing someone. I think it's Deli, Pigs, Tezuka, and Akiyama, I think are the 4. And so I see Tezuka as a really significant threat. And yeah, should be a fun set of games. So cheers and good luck to me.